so good evening, everyone. Welcome to the last select board meeting of February 28th. Let's see, we are meeting and continue to meet virtually in light of the COVID pandemic. Let's see, call to order, 7 o'clock. All right, announcements. Meeting of the Berlin Select Board are generally recorded for transmission on both the Berlin Cable Television Access Channel and YouTube. Your voice, image, and/or phone number may be recorded. All right, first up, approval of last week's minutes.
I will make a motion to approve, but I do have one question.
All right.
I'll second the motion, then we can ask the question.
Okay. All right.
So in the second bullet, there seemed to be maybe an unfinished sentence or.
In the second bullet. Oh, BOH Chair, Fire Chief, and COA Director on COVID test kit distribution plans and plans. There you go. Boom. Good job, Mary. Talk about it on the fly. All right, it is now changed.
All right. Then I'm good.
Okay. All right. Got a motion and a second with a correction. Thank you. Stone eye.
Hawkins, aye.
Key-fi.
Excellent. All right. Zipping down. Ms. Poland, you are up. Has any correspondence come our way in the past week?
A few things. One was from the filming people that were coming in that you had approved on your February 7th meeting. They needed to postpone it, and it looks like it is possibly going to happen tomorrow.
Nice.
We also officially received the Central Mass Regional Planning Council's FY23 assessment for $950.41. And we also received a letter from the Mass Cops regards to ARPA funding for essential workers, but this would require a contract negotiation. So we're gonna just put that aside. And we also received a letter from the building commissioner about the possibility of somebody wanting to use the Sears parking lot as a construction lanyard. Is that what it's called? That there, it looks like he sent them over to the ZBA as far as to look into seeing if that was something that was doable.
June, when's the date on that, Ish?
I didn't catch the date on it, but it looks like it's for a longer process. It looks like it's a 2 to 3 year.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, the letter does not have a start date, but it does say between 24 and 36 months.
nice.
Well,
Take that.
Well, we'll see what ZBA has to say, huh?
Exactly. Yeah, I don't know if that's something that's doable over there or not. So, and that's all that I have under correspondence.
Awesome. All right. Any questions for our TA2?
No.
Nope.
All right. So we move on to Peg's most favorite portion that she usually forgets about, which is general public comment. So again, quick shout out to Highway. Thank you. Hopefully this weekend you'll get a respite. There won't be any snow or ice coming for that we can start to make our way into spring. So for those in the audience, if you have a question, stick on up your hand. We'll give you a call. And then if not, we can, in the process, can you please bring Victoria up to the big table? All right. Okay, I don't see any hands. So Victoria, when you are ready, I did go by on Sunday. The town office is probably 10:15, 10:30, and saw a car starting to sneak in the back, saw the cones in the front. So how did it go?
It went well. Hi, everybody. Long
Hi.
time no see, select board in June. So we all know me and my traditions. So I do have a PowerPoint. with pictures,
Nice.
because I was advised that if we were to do a PowerPoint presentation, that pictures would be needed. So I said challenge accepted. So that's how I roll.
All righty.
So here we go. So, yep, this is our first ever COVID test drive-through. It was yesterday at the fire station. And here's one of our local residents getting his COVID test kit in all of his glory.
Yay.
Yay,
Nice.
Bob.
So basically, as you guys were saying, the way that we had it set up, and I know these pictures aren't the best, is that people were going around the building. So we used the fire station, the 2 doors at the fire station. So we had the cones set up where they were going around. We stopped door number 1. People were coming in and they would be stopping and we'd be meeting with them. And then they'd be proceeding on to the second door that was open. And then that's where they would be getting their test kits. So over here, over on the left, we've got Mr. Wheeler and we've got Stephanie over here. They were just double checking, making sure that everybody is on our census. Whenever anybody came to the drive-through, we just asked for proof of Berlin residency. No one had a problem with it. And then everybody would receive a green sheet of paper over here, and it would just state the amount of tests needed. And then on these 2 photos here is basically at the second door and just how we had it set up. So we weren't all freezing constantly outside. So it just made it a little bit easier that, you know, when there was a lull, we could just close the doors. But when we could see more people coming in, we just kept everything wide open. So overall, we had 360 COVID test kits or boxes for distribution. Northbrook 1 and 2 did get distributed their boxes earlier before the drive-through. It was 83 total boxes for Northbrook properties as a whole. We had 12 families who had deliveries yesterday, and that was thanks to Bob Blair, our most valuable delivery driver. And then yesterday we had 44 families come up to the drive-through, and we are estimating generally about between 70 and 75 boxes total distributed yesterday.
So
we have
are there some that are left, are you saying, or?
Yes. So
Yeah.
this is us at the end at about 2:15, you know, when we're all at our like 8th cup of coffee and our pizza high wore out. So so I just want to say thank you to everybody involved yesterday, and you know, with the construction of it, it was a huge success. We do have test kits left. What we would suggest is just give me a call at the council and we will help get people hooked up with the tests. And then, like I said, just reach out to me. Oh, go back. Just reach out to me. And something cool we found was there was a bird's nest just in the tree because, you know, we had some downtime outside. So we thought that was cool. A positive way to end the PowerPoint.
Nice.
Oh, I mean, congratulations,
Very nice.
Victoria. I'm sure that this was
Yeah.
not the easiest of undertaking to find them, buy them, get them, schedule them, get the word out. So very much appreciate everything that you have done.
Well, I mean, this was really a joint effort by numerous people within the town. I mean, kudos to the Board of Health and, you know, to the accounting office for helping getting everything ordered. You know, special thanks to, you know, the fire department and the police department, you know, especially for helping us to orchestrate this and doing it safely. No one was injured. No cones ran over. A couple people had to go around twice because they missed the second door, but that's fine. You know, it's fine. You know, I mean, it went well.
Very
So,
good.
Well,
I mean, you know, and it was funny because we had people show up at 9:45, and I'm like, you know what, like, let's just get the business going. Why not? So it was a nice, like, laid back kind of a day, which is really what you needed, especially, you know, with it being a Sunday. And, you know, kudos to the fire department, you know, especially they make killer coffee. And, you know, thank you to Chief Shartner for picking up the pizza. So, you know, we all remained, you know, fed. So, yeah. It was a good time.
So Victoria, no one was hangry? You know, that old Snickers
No.
commercial, no one was hangry?
Not yet. I mean, we were all it was funny because I think we were all getting to the point where we were like intermittently like getting like almost like that frostbitten kind of feeling, because it was good until the breeze came. And then the breeze comes and you're like, well, even standing out in the sun, it was useless. My cup
Yeah.
kept falling over, my coffee cup. So that was a catastrophe. But other than that,
Nice. Well, not that I ever want you to have to do this again, and I hope that you don't. But the nice thing is that you have the groundwork, kind of like our outdoor town meetings. No one wants to do
Yeah.
them, but we know how to do them now. So,
and that's really going to be up to the town and the residents, is that if everybody really thinks that a second round would benefit, we have talked about, it did go surprisingly smooth. I have to say, you didn't know how it was going to go, and we knew we'd hear about it one way or the other. So it went surprisingly smooth yesterday. So we were all very pleased. And like I said, this was a joint effort by numerous people, and I want everybody to know that they were all appreciated, and we're all very thankful for their time. So
awesome. Any questions for Victoria so we don't keep her too long on a Monday?
No, I just want
No.
to say thank you for all your hard work and everybody else also. And I'll be in touch because I could not make Sunday.
it's okay. It's okay. Maybe I can convince Bob to do deliveries around too.
Can we get Bob to slap a little pizza delivery in his car too? Just saying. Convert part of the COA van when it's not being used.
I'd like a test kit for 2 and a pepperoni pizza.
There you go. There you go. And a 12-ounce bottle of Diet Coke, please. That would be lovely.
There you go. As
Well,
long as we don't have,
and
yeah.
A slightly more serious, we could actually, with some of the leftover tests, if the food pantry is interested, have it down there that food pantry recipients, if they're interested, could also get a take-home test.
Yeah, I mean, we've got enough left over. I mean, we figured also too, just in case, if Northbrook has an outbreak too, if they needed more tests,
Mhm.
again, we knew that they needed to be the priority because, they are all at risk. The only interesting tidbit that we found, just a general knowledge to everybody, is that the tests don't work for anybody under the age of 2. So 2 and over. So that was the only other question we were asking yesterday, is if there were anybody, under 2. We didn't count them, but we just, advised, go to your pediatrician at that point. So
I see Mr. Shartner got snuck to the big table. What up there, Chief Shartner? Nothing. There you, wait, oh, nope. All right.
We all watch
she
the
just-
little red microphone and come and
I
go.
know, it's what I'm doing. It's like hide and seek. Now I'm on, now I'm off, now I'm on, now I'm off. Oh,
so
nope. There he is.
You gotta
Nope, he's still
unmute,
muted.
Eric. There you go.
There you are.
It's a little bit more complicated on my phone.
Oh, God.
It wasn't as
So
easy.
Eric, how did it go from your point of view over the weekend on Sunday distribution?
I thought it went great. I mean, I wasn't there 100% of the time, maybe like 80%, but pretty smooth. Everybody was happy, smiling. Nice little get together.
it was just relaxed.
Yeah.
Oh.
Nice.
And we were
Next
all
time have a
happy.
giant Jenga game going in the parking lot too. There you go.
Or we can have, like a Dunkin' run next time. So it's like, here's your test and your donut, or, something like that. So
Ooh. Ooh. As people come back, all of a sudden there's a mustache, there's a
Yeah.
beard. Yeah, got it. Cool. No,
That would
again,
get me
Eric,
there.
thank you, everyone else. Appreciate all that you've done to continue to take care of our town. It's heartwarming.
So,
Cool.
so yes.
All righty, you
thank
two,
all.
go enjoy your evening.
Thank
Yep.
you.
Thanks a lot.
All right, I'll talk to
Twice
you.
Thanks.
in 2 weeks, everybody. Oh my goodness, I'm seeing you guys so much. So
Well,
I'll see you now in June. So no, I'm kidding.
oh. We'll find a reason to bring you back, Victoria. Don't you go too far.
Fair
All
enough.
right. Okay,
Thank you,
great. Have a good
everybody.
night, everyone.
Okay.
All right, that's always nice to hear because you never know. It could go, one of 8,000 ways. So I'm glad that it went well. All right, Ms. TA2, otherwise known as June Poland, you are up for our town administrator report.
I don't actually have a lot. Most of the time has been spent working with getting the special articles, and also touching base with Margaret. I do want to just put out there that we had a few incidences over the past couple of weeks that I'd like to just Well, for one, I'd like to say that I just want to clarify that during a snowstorm, sometimes, usually the highway goes out and does its first pass during a larger storm. And I just want people, if they can, just have patience, because normally what they'll do is do one sweep through to make sure that the roads are open for traffic and for emergency vehicles. And then they'll go back through and do a little bit more cleanup. We had a couple of people that were impatient as far as having things done. So I just want to throw that out there. And I also just want to remind people that we do have a code of conduct, and that please, everybody's entitled to their opinions and their thoughts, by all means, but if they can just try to be as respectful and have courtesy as much as possible, it would really be appreciated. Most of our, or all of our employees actually do their jobs to the best of their abilities, and they really do try really hard to go on above and beyond what is needed most of the time. So I just wanted to put that out there. And I think that's it for right now.
Oddball question, just kind of came through my head. Have you heard anything anymore on the community host agreement with the folks over going into maybe, what was that? Entwistle up there, Hudson Berlin line?
I have not. I know just before I had left today, Mary had forwarded some phone calls. Some of them I wasn't sure on what they were talking about, so I had to do a little bit of research, but I haven't heard anything directly from them.
No worries. No worries. Again, it's one of those, it came in, I need to ask before it goes away. All right.
That might actually be something that if I can ask ZBA at their next meeting, if they've heard, because
Okay.
I would imagine that they would have to go to CBA.
Okay, yep, keep us posted if you find out anything, and if not, then we'll sit tight, you know, we'll hear one way or the other. All right. So today is the 28th. It is the kind of sort of last day to take ARPA requests. I know that there was a ton
Well,
that got some, well, I know. Initial first pass cutoff for today. Just want to acknowledge that date. I'm sure there'll be additional opportunities. But, you know, Mr. Blair, he's in the audience. I know that he sent in a bunch, you know, Dave sent in a bunch, you know, others have been coming in. So again, shout out to everyone who has put them in. Very much appreciate your input. You know, this is where we're going to start to do the work. So June, I didn't know if you had any next steps you could share with everyone on ARPA.
Actually, I do. Margaret had set up something called an ARPA Revenue Replacement Funds Project Idea Evaluation Form. This way here, her thoughts are is to give this out to Selectmen, Finance, and the Capital Planning Committee, and also the Administrative Financial Team to get their input on the different projects that everybody had submitted, because there was quite a few projects that came in, and it was a great brainstorming, and it was great to see a lot of the different ideas that were coming through. It's just it's still in the draft form. I'll send it out to you after we run it by the Administrative Finance Team to see if there's any other questions that should be on it to help evaluate a little bit more. But pretty much it's to allow each of the boards and committees that I had mentioned to actually be able to look at the ideas and kind of see how they feel it falls in a priority type of a thing. And then we can get together, hopefully as a group, maybe the end of March, beginning of April, to discuss, to see what some of these ideas may be and where we want to go forward from here.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
for the folks on the phone, there's a total of 92 or 91 that came in on this spreadsheet. And I know that there are several overlappers. So I'm sure that number will come down a minute, but a little bit, but I'd rather have 8 repeaters than to assume someone's doing it and no one does it. And then everyone's complaining that it wasn't done. So again, everyone on this list,
And
Thank
I don't
you.
think the requester is necessarily the person who's going to lead whatever's going to happen. I think it was just sort of a bunch of ideas.
Yes.
So
agreed.
I'm hoping at some point that we sit down and sort of just agree that some of these are duplicates and merge them into one line. We might keep everyone's comments together so that people who
Right.
added more details, because some of these came in with remarkably little detail, but some came in with some really great detail that would almost be a project plan level almost. And I was kind of hoping that the February 28th date is like, after this date, I think we have clearance to spend some of this money. Because I think some of the things on the list are better spent sooner rather than later. I'd rather not wait to the end of March. I think some of these, especially the ones that are designed to help us put us in a good position for grant funding, some of those grant rounds will probably want some of this stuff released sooner. And I think a couple of these, at least a couple of them that I mean, I spent some time sort of rearranging the spreadsheet and playing around with my own copy. I didn't touch the official copy. Some of them just for me feel like just timing wise, it is better to get them done now and not necessarily have to wait for a town meeting or wait for a lot of feedback that I don't think are controversial and for the most part are not large. Although a couple of them that I liked to even do now don't play. I'm trying really hard not to bias and to go, but like tree removal, you know, is something that a lot of people want done. We struggle to find some money for it. It's sort of a one-time thing. And we could put some money to it to get something started like relatively soon without necessarily committing to the entire project because there are, I thought the last number was like 600 odd trees that should still come down. And I'm worried about deforesting the entire town, but that these are at least dead trees that are in the process of being dangerous. But that we could put some money towards it now.
We do also have a bucket truck coming online.
Yep. Which will allow the town to do that. And we could, you know, use some staffing hours. Some things like we've committed some money to expand already of the ARPA funds to expand Victoria's hours so that she could do some mental health stuff and expand the Council on Aging. And I believe we've only committed money through the end of this fiscal year. We might decide that we want to make sure we don't accidentally overspend things and just make a point that we're committing to at least the next couple of fiscal years. And so I think there are some things in this list that we could, again, I don't necessarily feel tonight, but relatively soon in the next week or so, like just decide is worthy to explore further or just to give some green lights to.
Well, so June, I guess I'll throw that back to you, being TA2 and being in touch with Margaret and also being on the not the finance committee, but the other finance committee to talk about process because I don't want to start, and this is just me personally, I don't want to start saying, yep, release, yep, release, yep, release without some type of format agreement. Did we truly vet it? Is it one time? Is it reoccurring? Yeah, so I'm going to lean on you a little bit. When's your next, not the finance meeting, but your other finance meeting coming up, you know?
Administrative finance team, we can
Thank
meet
you.
anytime needed. So we
Okay.
could meet within the next week or so.
All right, so if, just looking up at a calendar, 2 weeks, March 14th, maybe, would that give you enough time to know?
It would, but we're not going to be here that week. We're going to be away, hopefully over in Amherst to accounting school. I have to switch hats and go to accounting school to keep my certification, so.
Then you must go. Okay. So 21?
I would say probably 21 would be better. So that way there too, we don't have to make Margaret do everything in 1 week because
Well, and
she
again,
did
I
a
don't
lot of
think I'm
work
looking at,
today. So
right. I don't think I'm looking at sort of a full vetting of 90 proposals. I'm looking at a handful of proposals that are already fairly well baked, and even those that are not, like, you know, the improve the door housing at the highway building so it's not leaking energy on a regular basis. I don't think it has any opposition to it whatsoever is to do something that is more energy efficient. And although there might be grants that could take us a long time, and that is leaking money sort of now.
Well, unless there's
So-
some kind of money from buildings in the budget. If there's
Yeah,
right
see,
now
that's
we were
why-
going to do things like that for out of the budget and see if there's money there.
And I'd rather spend some of the ARPA funds on that and roll some of that money in the budget of free cash for later on.
It might be
Right.
good to actually fill out that form.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I'd rather wait, because I
Who's
just
filling,
think that
who is
there's,
filling out the form?
Well,
You're talking about a
Margaret's-
dozen people filling out a form for 90 projects. So you're talking about what, 10 or 15 hours for each one of us to do that?
Do you, Scott, do you have like a short list of some of the things that maybe we could talk about at next week or the
Yeah,
week after?
my list was a dozen, which I think is too high. And so I'm already in the process of trying to figure out how to make that shorter.
I mean, maybe we could just discuss those 12 or less things.
June, do you think, I know that you're gonna be gone the week of the 14th, do you think Margaret will be back at a meeting, or should we think about maybe skipping that week if she's not back and you're not here?
That wouldn't be a bad
Up
idea.
to you.
All right. Well, you know what? Why don't we ponder? I'm sure that you're in touch with Margaret probably more than us. And then when we do agenda setting in a couple days, why don't we, see what, I know her, she'll be like, oh, I can come back. But I don't want her to come back. Not that I don't want her to come back. Please, no one take that the wrong way. I want her to come back, but I want her to come back when she is
Yeah.
able to come back.
Yeah.
So, maybe on the 7th, we can pop on our next agenda, a discussion to see what we want to do on the 14th. So let me put that down as an action item. All right, so March 7th. Okay. Do we meet? All right, on 14th. Cool. All righty. So lots more to come on that, but very, 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 very excited to have that opportunity to move into that next phase. So, Ms. June, I'm still going to keep you at the front table. Do you have any FY23 budget updates?
I do not at this moment.
All righty. And status on overdue town reports. I have one. I have an update. I did reach out to Energy, and the gentleman said that Eloise was taking a first pass at it, and then they were going to meet. So you now are updated on the Energy update. No date when it will come back, not that it will come back, but at least it's being talked about.
So what is our goal date to get this to the printer?
I don't know.
Well, we weren't gonna print that many. Mary, do you know offhand? Let me see if I can find the calendar
No.
quick.
It's not on the calendar this year.
Oh, okay.
Right, because the calendar was for the warrant articles, because that's gonna be the budget of the FinCom one, and that one, we have to have that budget done relatively soon, so finance can also have their say in it before it gets printed and sent out.
Oh,
Okay, did you get in touch with EDC?
oh,
Are they-
Peter already sent in an email a long time ago. They weren't doing one, so that's not even a chase. That's not on the list.
All right.
So, well, do we want to make put a date? Put a mark on the calendar, a little circle on the calendar for if we have them, we'll roll. And if we don't, you're out. And then you have to stand up on the floor at town meeting and give your town report.
Well,
And they were
is
due
that the
January
process?
1st.
No,
that the
the end of
process?
January.
Yeah, the end of
End of
January.
End of January. So they're only a month
No.
late at this point.
We're a month behind.
Well, not just a month behind, zero communication back. Really, to be fair though, Eloise is working as hard as she can
I
on the
know.
bulk of
Yep.
them are Eloise's. So, and little bits and pieces come in that she needs to tie it up with a bow. So
Right.
some things really are late rolling into
So-
her.
So let's if we can get something from Eloise as sort of what she thinks her timeline could be. Because again, if she's relying on other people, there's no sense pushing on something that she has no control over.
All right. Well,
I think that really is it, except for Energy. And Eloise did come up with a draft,
Okay,
which
good.
just needs to be blessed by a quorum.
yep. Okay.
The other one would be trustee of trust funds, which I don't have, but it is what it is.
Okay.
And also the town administrator too, I believe still has to do hers.
I know, but she gets a little bit of a pass. Okay.
And I know, I'm not exactly sure on how much time also Lori needs. I know
for
that
everybody
she
to put it
sent,
all together. Yeah.
she actually sent out Mary a draft, but I noticed that my report was missing. So I don't know how many others have been sent to her that just haven't been processed yet. So we also need to find out where she stands also.
All right.
Yeah,
They
before you
know-
put a date on anything, wouldn't
Yeah.
it be nice to check with Lori?
All right.
Lori has some personal things that she's taking care of also.
Right.
Okay. Mary, I can reach out to her if you don't have time. That's not a problem.
Reach out to Lori?
Yeah, just to kind of get an idea of how much time she needs to put things together, a confirmation of who she has for reports versus what you have for reports, so no one gets left out.
Do we have a date by which we wanted to get these distributed? I didn't know it was
No,
as controversial anymore as it was before.
no, because we're not
No, but-
mailing them as one.
Right, but the idea I thought was originally to have this go out before the warrants, so that people have a chance to read and start digesting it earlier than the warrants, that we're, at the rate we're going, every week we're still waiting for more without actually sort of thinking of timelines and other stuff, that this could end up going out in August at the rate we're going. And so I'm just
I
trying
would
to
think that
make
they
sure
would-
this doesn't.
No, it's not that far away. I mean, Lori is kind of a wizard at dropping it into the format and slapping it around. We just need a couple of them. I mean, I can't even imagine that she isn't terribly close to having a couple
Good.
weeks away from having a final product, really, if she had all the final reports from Eloise. And so I don't think this is actually any worse than any other year. In fact, I think because you're not waiting for the warrant per se, although the
Right.
warrant could possibly make it, but probably not this year, but in future years, it possibly could still make it. I don't think it's that far off. The only thing we
Right.
can't do is we can't get a quote on producing the book. Again, I wouldn't
Yeah.
worry about it because we're producing less books this year,
Mhm.
but we don't have a page count. So it's hard to get
Right.
a quote
Yep.
until we have a page count, until we have everything in, but still, give or take, it should be less, you'd think, you know what I mean?
All right, well, let's see, what's today? Today's 28th. Let's check in next Monday. We'll just leave it as a running
Yeah,
placeholder.
I would-
and then
I think
go
it'd be-
from there.
I think we would be great if we had it ready for people to pick up and read, by the first week of April.
I'm sure that that's doable. Okay, all right. Well, I will leave status updates on the town reports for next week. All right, Miss June, you're back again. Do you have any temporary TA recommendations for the select board to appoint open positions?
Don't have anything for tonight, but I'm hoping next Monday, we will have a couple anyway. We're hoping.
All right, okay, then I will carry that over. So we are down to new business, the official closing of the warrant. We said that they would all be in by, we would no longer accept warrant items after 5 o'clock today. Boom, it is closed. And Mary, you sent us out a link on another drive for that. I don't know if everyone still wants to go out there, take a look at them. June, if there's anything that you want to share with us.
I actually got my copy of the draft warrant, about the same time you did tonight. So
Okay.
I have to go through it and make sure that all the placeholders that we had listed are here on this draft. And make sure that all of them have been forwarded.
The board
So-
controls the warrant. So this was just the deadline that passed at 5 was for
Yeah.
non-board sponsored stuff, let's say. For a citizens petition, that was the deadline for a citizens petition, of which none came in.
Okay.
You still control the warrant. You can still add and delete. If they didn't do it by citizens petition, you still control the warrant.
So do we need a motion to close?
No, it
Oh,
already
oh.
happened at 5 o'clock.
But it happens automatically.
I couldn't remember from last year.
Chakalaka. All right, so it looks like we have 5, 15, maybe, ish.
There's a couple of dupes in there, and then there's a couple where they put 3 in one attachment.
Oh,
So
okay,
not that frequently, but anyhow, give or take 20-ish, let's say.
okay. All right, June, I'm going to assume that you're probably working with Margaret on this, but do you need any help from any of us?
No, and I have to say, Margaret came back this morning and she worked and put together this draft. So I told her that's it. She worked for the whole week, just
Yep,
about.
she
today.
did. She did.
We'll
She's
see how
done.
she's doing tomorrow, but
Okay,
so I am
right.
definitely working very closely with Margaret from here on out as far as the warrants go.
okay. Well, give a shout if you need anything.
Absolutely.
All righty, and we're zipping right through. This might be a record BOS meeting. We're down to boards, questions, comments, liaison updates. Go. Anyone? Bueller?
No, I have a lot
Alright.
of meetings coming up, but I have nothing in the last week that I remember.
I did not, but I do want to put this on everybody's radar. That at some point we need to talk about a plan for live meetings when we go back to in person.
Well, I know that
Whether
Board of Health tomorrow on their agenda, they were talking about the mask mandate. So I figured I would wait until that I would just pop in and listen to their meeting and see what they had to say, and then drop something on our meeting for Monday.
Well, no,
I think my
what I'm-
question is more technological in nature and less
Yes.
mask in nature.
Yes, it is.
Is that-
I want to be able to have our meetings be live when we go back to in person. And how do we do that? Whether we contact Brittany for cable or you know, what the plan is. Because I think
'Cause-
live for some people is really, I mean, then to be able to watch it after too, which is a good thing.
I think
So-
Roger's just waiting in the wings for the all clear, and then he'll swing back in with his camera.
Yeah, but that's not live.
I think
that's
it's more live.
recorded.
I mean, for me, live is one of the things I liked about Zoom, and I don't like everything about Zoom, is that the attendance of citizenry at our select board meetings is significantly higher. Because if you have one little thing that's sort of a interest and not an incredible interest that you're willing to drop your entire night for, you can, you know, have this on in the background. I know some people who actually do log in and have this in the background, and when they get to the
Mhm.
agenda item they're interested, they pay a lot more attention, but they could be doing dishes or watching their children or other things like that. And so I think having some interactive ability is beneficial.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that is the good part of Zoom. And, you know, the question is, how do we do that? And actually, when I was thinking about it today, I was thinking maybe we should have put something on for this in the ARPA funds. You know, I know that I believe wasn't cable access going to put in cameras and that kind of thing, and I didn't know whether that would be live or.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, June.
I know that they are still working on that. I know that Margaret was in the process of doing some of the procurement before she went out. And I know that Brittany just reached out to me over the weekend to find out where we stood on that so that they knew how to work the budget as well. So I can always reach out to Brittany and see where they stand on that and what is doable at this point.
Yeah, I know that there's a bunch of equipment that's in. Roger kind of opened the door one night when I passed him and pointed to boxes upon boxes that's in the cable room, but I don't know if there were more to come in. I don't know the whole process to get them set up, what room's going first, et cetera, et cetera. So that's a whole
Yeah.
big plan.
Well, those are the kind of things that I was curious
All right.
about. And I think our technology guru, Scott, could help us out too, right, Scott?
I actually have avoided AV stuff most of my entire life, and it's still very much a mystery to me. I can get my
Well-
universal remote to work every now and then, but
Oh, good. I have one that I can't get to work.
All right, June, if you want to, you know what I'll do, I'll pop it up under old new business, under new business for next week, just as a placeholder. If you get a chance to talk to Brittany, awesome. If not, then we'll just continue to chase down that dog. All
Yeah, because I
right.
have to follow up with her anyway, as far as the dollar amounts that's going to be needed on the warrant for town meeting, so.
Okay,
Okay, thank
all
you.
right. And then I got squat. So was there anything that we
If I could
missed?
quickly go back to ARPA funding just for a
Mhm.
second. Looking at the 12 that I really would love to have happen now, really, I think 4 of them are the ones that are just, I feel more of a time constraint on than others. And so I think we could potentially, and assuming that if you guys look at the list, there might be 1 or 2 of yours, but I think the list of ones that we might want to tackle sooner rather than later is not giant. And one of those 4 is just how much are we committing to do the COA director? Because that is an ongoing one, and sort of how we're gonna, what we think about that for ongoing years, so we don't accidentally spend that money and then discover we're not, or just how much of a commitment we're making to that.
All right, so what if I put on the agenda for next week on the ARPA that, well,
Next
I don't
week,
know. I just
next week
kinda
could just
hate
be,
to put the-
next week could just be listing the ones we think should happen sooner rather than later, and not actually doing any voting on releasing funds. Because I don't think we'll ever have a plan. I don't think in any case we have a plan for $1 million.
oh, no.
Because I think stuff is coming in for the next years. And so this is going to be a constant moving target. I think the sort of process is we find things that are sort of ready to go and make them go. And I think some of the others are incredible ideas that we might nudge to, like, okay, who's gonna, I have a category in my spreadsheet called research. And I'm starting to think of, like, who's the one who, like, makes this in a better shape, so that it, because it's starting as a kernel of an incredible idea, but turn it into something that is, I move, X dollars for this project to be spent, by this team of people.
All right, so then next week, why don't we plan on each coming back with no more than 4. That'll give us 12 to talk about. It'll be interesting to see if we overlap like we did with our goals and objectives. We were kind of all circling around each other on those. And again, this is just discussion. It's not voting. There's no process in place to spend any of the money. June may come back and say, oh, you want a blah, blah, blah. Well, that really needs to come out of blah, blah, blah budget, or, something like that. So why don't we start?
I don't think it
small?
needs to come out of everybody, because this is its own funding. So this is the funding. It is,
Yes, but
almost
I'm
$1 million.
saying- Yes, but some of the items that I put in ARPA, like mine, I'll take the example from
yep.
mine. The door downstairs to get into the food pantry in the lower level. Is it
Right.
ARPA funds or is it building funds? So,
It's whatever the select board decides.
yeah.
Because
All
we
right.
are the deciding body, so we can decide that is ARPA funds.
June, are we the deciding body, or is it truly a partnership with us, the finance, CPA, COA, CPC?
The
Or
original
is
thought
that to be
process,
determined?
it was going to be a kind of a joint effort, just because it can affect the budget as a whole.
All right.
But
Right.
legally,
Legally-
because it is actually being treated as a grant, it would be the selectmen that would actually have the authority to physically spend it.
Okay. Well, in June, if there's anything that you can also share next
Well, why don't
week.
we, if we're gonna do, everybody does, what did you say? 4?
4.
4, no more than 4.
But if everybody does 4, then why don't we also limit the amount of time that we spend doing this?
5 minutes each. That's a minute each, so pick your words wisely.
I'm good. I will look at what you have to, promote. But I
Okay.
also think that it would be beneficial if we had the form that Margaret is asking us to fill out, just so we have an idea of what we're looking.
I'll do is I'll bring this to I'll send this out to the administrative finance team to have them take a look, see if there's anything else they think that we should have included on this form, and then I can send it out to you, all 3 of you, so that way there you can at least take a look, see on what it is that Margaret's thought was behind it.
Well, yeah, because I mean, that actually will help us keep from putting the cart before the horse.
Agreed. All right, so after we're done tonight, I'll go in and I'll update the agenda for next week. for those. All right. Anything else to be brought up?
Nope. Would you like a motion to adjourn? Motion to adjourn.
Second,
Boom chakalaka. Stone eye.
Hawkins, aye.
Keefe, aye.
All right. Board of Selectmen out. Thanks,
Later.
everyone. See you next week.